It's about 40 miles from Cleveland to Henrietta, Ohio in Lorain County, home of some of the largest fruit orchards in northern Ohio. Consider the apple. Each year, Ohio apple farmers grow 100 million pounds of apples, and right here in northeast Ohio, they grow over 40 varieties, and some of them are unique just to the Buckeye State.
Well, Melrose is the state apple, and it was a variety that came from the Ohio State University breeding program when they had a breeding program probably 80, 90 years ago. They don't have a breeding program anymore, but Melrose came from that, and it was adopted as the state apple. It's a cross between a Jonathan and a Red Delicious, and there's still some of them around, and a lot of farm markets and pick-your-own operations in Ohio still are growing Melrose.
Our destination today is Dodd's Hillcrest Orchard in Henrietta, near Oberlin. It's one of 4 orchards located on what some people call Apple Hill.
When you're growing apples, there's a couple of things that help you avoid frost or freeze damage in the spring. One of them would be our proximity to the lake. So in the spring, when it starts to get warm, if you have a northerly breeze over the lake and it's 34 degrees, it may be 50 degrees here and it may be 70 degrees in Oberlin. So what that does is that holds the crop back and the bloom time back, so it makes you less susceptible to spring freeze. And then the other thing is the elevation. Our elevation here is a little bit higher than other places. It's Henrietta Hill, and so the elevation, hot air rises and cold air settles. So if you're on some elevations, you'll have a little bit warmer air, and sometimes 1 or 2 degrees is the difference between having a crop and losing your crop to freeze.
Like many apple growers around the country, the Dodds have supplemented their income by not only selling their apples, but turning their orchards into an autumn playground.
Well, the term, Neil, is agritainment.
Thank you.
Agricultural entertainment. And so when they come out here, we do some of the old-time things that kids used to do 100 years ago, build straw tunnels and crepe mazes and the things we did growing up when there wasn't the internet and all the TV and all that. We do hay rides. You can pick your own apples. We have a little barrel train that the younger kids can ride in. We have pedal carts, which are kind of like go-karts, only you pedal them, and we have a track set up for that.
It always amazes me every time we go to a farm just how much fun the kids get out of it. Just being outdoors, learning how things work, meeting the chickens, seeing the livestock, watching the corn grow, and all these things, learning how to farm.
An interesting fact, prior to Prohibition, most apples grown in America were grown not to eat, but to drink, for cider.
Early on, in some cases, depending on where you live, the water supply may have been a little sketchy. And so in many cases, apple cider was healthier, safer to drink than water.
And just coincidentally, it got hard.
Coincidentally, as is with a lot of things, somebody left it out somewhere and said, wow, that smells funny, and then drank it and said, whoa, that tastes funny, but in a good way. And the next thing you know, hard cider is prevalent.
Right now, it's that wonderful time of year when roadside stands are bursting with this year's harvest. Everyone has their favorite product that they've waited all year to taste. Apples and autumn time fun, and best of all here at Dodd's Hillcrest Orchard in Henrietta, it's just a one-tank trip. I'm Neil Zurcher.